What if your closest friend never actually existed?
What if the most important question of your life unlocked a door that should have stayed forever sealed? This is not a story about ghosts in the traditional sense. This is a story about a memory that became a cage, a testimony passed from a wife to her husband, from him to me, and now to you. The man who told me this, let's call him Alex, has been my closest friend for over 3 decades. He's rational, successful, grounded. He does not believe in fairy tales, and what he shared with me dismantled his understanding of reality. For the next 20 minutes, I ask you to listen not with skepticism, but with the empathy of someone standing at the edge of a profound and unsettling truth. This is the story of Irina, and why she could never have children. Imagine a life that finally finds its balance. Alex had wealth, charm, a legacy. He found love later in life with a woman named Irina, gentle, modest, an anchor of stability. Their world was complete, or so it seemed, until the one natural question arose. A family. Children. For Alex, it was a dream of the future. For Irina, it was a key turning in a lock buried deep in her past. Her refusal was absolute, visceral. It wasn't a negotiation, it was a wall of silent terror. After weeks of this painful impasse, worn thin by confusion and heartache, she finally relented. She made him promise swear not to speak, not to interrupt, not to question her sanity until she was finished. And then, in the quiet of their living room, she began to speak. Her voice was not her own. It was the voice of a young woman, trapped in a memory more real than the present. Years ago, in the city of Volgograd, Irina was a young student, fiercely in love. Life was a struggle. A tiny rented room near the port, a baby son, a husband working himself to exhaustion. She was alone, drowning in the endless cycle of an infant's needs. The silence of those 4 walls pressing in on her. Then, a miracle, a promotion. They moved from that single room to their own apartment. It was salvation. A new beginning. Her son was 4 now, a bright little boy. She was a homemaker, building a nest, believing the hardest days were behind her. The new building was ordinary. On their floor, down a long, poorly lit corridor that took a sharp turn to the left, there were 2 other apartments. The neighbors across the hall were shadows, busy and distant, but curiosity, and the loneliness of a housewife, drew Irina down that turning corridor one afternoon. 2 doors. One, plain wood, scarred and tired. The other, upholstered in faded grey leatherette, with pushpins forming the apartment number. She raised her hand to knock on the wooden door. Before her knuckles could land, the door jerked open, stopped only by a rattling security chain. In the sliver of darkness, a single, milky eye set in a landscape of deep wrinkles stared out. A voice, cracked and venomous, spat. "Get out of here. What are you lurking for? I'll call the police. I know your kind, you whores." The door slammed. The sound echoed in the empty hall. Irina stood frozen, humiliation and rage boiling in her chest. She muttered a curse under her breath and turned to leave. "Excuse me, young lady." A soft voice, from the door with the leatherette. A woman, younger, with a kind, tired smile. I heard her. "Don't take it to heart. Would you like to come in for some tea?" Her name was Olga. She had a son, Anton, exactly the same age as Irina's boy. She was a single mother, supported by a well-off father. In the months that followed, Olga became Irina's lifeline. While the boys played, they drank tea, shared stories, laughed. Olga's apartment was a sanctuary. For Irina, it was the friendship she had desperately needed. It all felt so perfectly, beautifully normal. Then came the day her son caught a slight fever. Just a quick errand to the pharmacy. "Olga, could you watch him for 20 minutes? "Of course." Olga smiled, ushering the boy inside. "We'll be right here." An hour later, Irina returned, groceries in hand. She went to Olga's door. No answer. A knock, then harder, then pounding. "Olga." "Anton." "Sweetheart, it's Mama." Silence. A deep, swallowing, absolute silence. The kind that feels physical. Her mind raced a sudden trip to the store. A forgotten message. But the fear was instinctual, cold, seeping into her bones. In her panic, she did the only thing left. She went back to the first door, the old woman's door. She knocked, pleading now. For a long time, nothing. Then, the sound of the chain. The door opened, just a crack. The old woman's voice was different. Not angry, but grim, resigned. "You poor, foolish girl," she whispered. The door closed, then opened fully. "Come inside." And closed the door behind you. The apartment was a shock. Not the squalor she expected, but a desperate, claustrophobic chapel. The wall shared with Olga's apartment was a tapestry of terror. Dozens, hundreds of crosses, crucifixes of wood, of tarnished metal, drawn clumsily in white chalk on the wallpaper. A large icon of the Virgin watched from the corner. The air smelled of dust, incense, and old fear. "Sit down," the old woman said. Her hands trembled. "You asked about your friend, Olga. She lived there 2 years ago." Irina laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "That's impossible. We had tea yesterday. Our children play together every week." The old woman's eyes held a bottomless pity. "Listen to me. She was a sad woman. Her husband left her. She drank. Her son reminded her too much of him. One night, in a drunken rage, she strangled the boy. Then she hung herself from a pipe in the bathroom. I saw the militia carry their bodies out. That apartment has been empty and sealed ever since. No one could stand the smell." Irina's world was tilting. "You're mad. I've been in her home. I've sat at her table." "Have you?" the old woman asked softly. "Think. When did you first knock on my door? When did I scream at you to go away? Was it months ago or was it yesterday? She has been weaving herself into your life since the moment you met her eyes. She takes the children. She always takes the children, to keep her own boy company in the dark. The rest was a blur. A frantic call to her husband, the arrival of the militia, the splintering crack of an axe breaking down the sealed door to apartments. The smell that rolled out was beyond decay, a sweet, putrid thickness that made men gag. And inside, in the dust-covered, empty silence, they found him, her little boy, alone on the floor of the barren living room. The official report spoke of a tragic accident, a child wandering into a condemned space. But Irina's husband saw the unspoken truth in her eyes, in the old woman's whispered testimony, in the impossible timeline. He could not live with that crack in the world. He left. Irina spent a year in a sanatorium, trying to glue her mind back together. She rebuilt her life, piece by shattered piece, eventually meeting my friend Alex. She carried the story inside her like a dormant virus, until his longing for a child awakened it. So now you know what Alex learned that night. They live in a quiet house in the country. They have dogs, cats, and 3 neighbors they politely, firmly, never invite inside. The story ends here, but the question it opens does not. What did Irina experience? A shared delusion with a lonely, traumatized old woman, a supernatural predation, a ghost stitching itself into the fabric of a living woman's life to steal what it lost, or something else, a glimpse into a layer of reality where grief doesn't fade, but grows, and reaches out for company. Alex made his choice. He chose Irina, and the silence that now surrounds them. You have heard the evidence. The judgment is yours.